Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about why the market could potentially be dumping. Obviously we've seen massive sell-offs kind of across the board. I have a couple of different theories as to why this could potentially be. And also I want to talk a little bit about, is this just a fake out and are we going to see the market bounce here pretty soon? Or could this be the start of a larger correction? And so we're going to talk about all of that. Obviously lots to go over today. So let's go on ahead and jump right in. Starting out, we will look at crypto bubbles. We can see everything down pretty bad within the past 24 hours. We can see Solana down just 10%, crazy amount down just in 24 hours, especially on something with this larger market cap. We can also see Trump and Fart going down a pretty decent bit as well. Then we also have Virtuals down. Virtuals has been really struggling recently. Overall, I think this could be part of like a larger pullback just within the AI space as things start to correct. So we'll kind of have to track that, see how that goes. Again, we're seeing kind of a lot down kind of everywhere overall. So things getting pretty crazy. We can actually see we've moved red on the week as well overall. We have XCN, which has moved up really, really strongly, but basically everything else pretty much down. Obviously, we've got a couple greens here and there, but overall things looking a little bit rough in the wider market. If we do look at the market overview though, we can see open interest and volume on Bitcoin still holding relatively high. We can see, I believe this is a partial day, so, not total data on this volume yet. We can see volume on data still holding up pretty well. We can see the RSI heat map. Actually, everything is kind of moving down pretty strongly. The market average is definitely sitting like in the middle of week right now, but even more and more projects getting into oversold. So, as we start to see more and more projects drop into oversold, potentially becomes a better buying opportunity. Hard to say for sure. Again, this is kind of the whole point of this video today. We're going to kind of go back and forth and see, what potentially could be happening here. So also we can see the fear and greed index still in greed, which is a little bit surprising. I feel like the overall market sentiment is pretty bad overall. So I am a little bit surprised that this still is in greed. I do think we will probably drop back into neutral within the next day or two. We can see 24-hour liquidations up here, up 380%, almost $600 million. Tons of money getting liquidated. I think this is pretty safe to see. Just we'll look at some technical analysis here in a second, but a lot of different like key support levels getting broken. So far they're staying down below these key support levels. We'll see how long they stay there, but overall pretty interesting. So we'll have to take a quick look at that. Also, we can see on the exchange liquidation map, obviously things bias towards a move to the upside. I think this is pretty safe to say after we've seen this pretty strong move to the downside. So I'm going to take a closer look at that. Overall, the market in a little bit of a rough position. But again, we have to kind of determine, like, is this real or is this part of a wider pullback? And so I think there's a pretty solid explanation or an argument for both directions. I'll let you guys decide as to what you think it could be. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. I know just as much about what is going to happen in the future as you do. So obviously, you need to make your own decisions. We don't really ever know for sure what's actually going to happen. We can just only intuit from what we've seen in the past and kind of take our best guess based on some of the data and things that we are seeing. So moving on to what we are seeing on the technical analysis perspective, we can see my H-bar position that I opened was up about 40% this morning, but down really, really heavily right now. It is actually approaching my stop loss position. So we'll see if we get stopped out. It's looking like it could be probable at this point, but hard to say for sure. If we go into full screen, we can see, just looking at Bitcoin, obviously, we were seeing kind of this nice little wedge forming for pretty much everything. We were seeing the wedge forming, we were seeing the Bollinger Bands tighten, and then basically universally, we've seen exactly this happen. A really, really strong dumping out of a lot of these different key levels of supports and liquidation zones. We can see, we've fallen out of this like 101K. Probably the next one in play is this level. We're coming right up to it, getting very, very close. And then again, if we do fall through this, probably going to be seeing something down here in the like 91 to 94 range. Hard to know for certain, but as I've said, I was a little bit kind of biased towards a move to the upside, just because we are seeing some pretty strong movements bullishly over the past. We are in a bull run, at least still at this point. So I was thinking, again, more likely than not that we would see a move to the upside. But as I always say, when we see wedges like this, when we see Bollinger Band squeezing, it's a prediction of a break and volatility. Which direction? We don't know, right? I mean, maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10, given the current market conditions, maybe it's even 6 or 7, we see a move to the upside, but that's not 100%, right? We can never know with absolute certainty where the market is going to go. So as I did say in my video, I believe it was later yesterday afternoon, I was taking long positions. Obviously, I got stopped out on all of those. That's why you play the stops very, very close to kind of the structure. The structure obviously has been invalidated. So now we just got to kind of figure out where things go, and we can kind of go from there, wait for some structure to form, and then take another trade at another high risk, or a low risk, high reward type of play. Of course, obviously this one didn't work out. We can see RSI looking very, very, very oversold on the hourly. Even if we go back to daily, we can see actually though things not looking too overcorrected here on the daily. We actually can see only moving to about the mean line of the Bollinger Bands and going back to about average. So if we look at things on the daily, not looking too oversold, although if we do look at the shorter time frames, things looking very, very oversold. Obviously, we did break this trend line that we had been seeing kind of since the early parts of January. That has been broken now. So things are kind of getting broken all over the place. We can take a couple quick looks. We're going to see very, very similar things basically throughout. We'll take a quick look at Solana and XRP just because these are two that I was taking a closer look at earlier as well. If we look at Solana, again, same type of thing. Wedge forming, really, really nice wedge forming. Boom, broken right out of it. Again, on the daily, we're still actually kind of retreating back towards the mean line on this Bollinger Band. We can also see here retreating back to about the mean here on RSI. However, if we do go and look at the hourly, very, very similar things all throughout. We're seeing RSI way, way, way oversold, pushing the bottom of all the Bollinger Bands. Again, we saw the setup, we saw the squeeze, and then we ended up just breaking out to the bottom. So always hard to know for sure when we do see something like this. I'm kind of going back and thinking what could I have done differently? I think there's two things that I could have done differently when I was trading. One, potentially wait for a break and close. Waiting here, especially where we were so far down the wedge, a little bit greedy to not just kind of wait and break for that confirmation. Also, the other thing too is whenever we talk about this, we talk about how this is always meaning that we're going to see, or this is typically meaning that we will be seeing some volatility, and also coming to the end of this wedge, probably going to see a break. So that means we're going to see a large move in one direction or the other. So it could have potentially been a decent idea to do kind of more of I believe they call it an iron condor when you do options trading. But basically you take a long, place your stop loss here, take a short, place your stop loss here. And then essentially what you're banking on is that you see a strong enough move one direction or the other that it makes up for the loss you took on the other side. So think about, if we were to place that trade here, you're about 50-50 in terms of risk to reward on both options. And so with a move like this, you'd have been well on the green if you were to take something like that. So I think those are probably the two potential options I could have done to kind of change how I made this trade. And it potentially could have worked out a little bit better. So thinking, kind of taking that into my mental model for when we go into the future and how that could potentially get better. So we will be taking a look there and following up on that. Obviously, we have XRP doing something very, very similar. Like I said, everything is looking pretty consistent with, RSI looking very, very oversold. Price looking terrible, breaking all of these wedges, RSI, or the Bollinger Bands, squeezing down, all this type of stuff kind of happening throughout the market. So very, very similar setups market wide and very, very similar results market wide. So if you are, maybe at this point in time, you're not feeling super positive about trading, but if you are interested in trading and you are looking for a place to trade, I do have that link to BTCC in the description below. 10% bonus on first time deposits if that's something you're interested in. Also extra bonuses up to $10,055 per user. So BTCC throwing a whole bunch of money at you to trade with them if you are interested. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary. So a lot of different options there. If you are interested, like I said, just check the link in the description below. Now, moving on, I did want to take a quick look at this post from CZ, the Cointelegraph obviously has been kind of promoting around. What we can see here is CZ essentially advises crypto investors to focus on fundamentals, emphasizing patience and long-term strategy. Basically, he's saying, warns against chasing quick returns and saying that time will be on your side. I think this is something that is very important. I think it makes a lot of sense when we see people going into meme coins and people essentially gambling on, the possibility of AI agents. Obviously, I'm still fully convicted in AI agents. I think we're going to see a lot from there. Frankly, I'm probably going to be picking up on some of the higher quality ones, or at least the ones that I think are higher quality in this dip. This is the perfect time to look for that type of stuff, is kind of to test your convictions and find the things that you are interested in. So what we can see is, a hot market may have opportunities for quick returns, but it's best to stick with fundamentals. Totally agree. I get a lot of flack from being an ICP fan on the channel because price only goes down. It's price movement's terrible, all this, that, whatever else. Yeah, so far, right? But I've looked at the fundamentals of ICP. I think ICP has a really, really strong place in the market. I think the tech is fantastic. I think the team is fantastic. I think we'll see a run out of ICP. I could be right. I could be wrong. Who knows? Only one way to find out, right? And that's just to wait and see. So, I would say that I am very much in agreement here. Look for the fundamentals. Make sure you're focusing and you're understanding what's going on within the wider market. In my opinion, it's very, very important for us to see kind of how the market unfolds. Let's just make sure that we're being responsible, we're being safe. Of course, I did get stopped out on a couple of my different trades today. This in no way affects me. I'm not using money that I can't afford to lose. I usually trade very, very small. A lot of this is just to make sure that I'm practicing and learning all the time, right? I mean, earlier on in the video, we talked about a couple of different ways that I could have improved my trading strategy for the future. I'm always iterating. I'm always looking to learn, improve myself, and get better within the crypto industry. Also, coming back, another comment I did want to make regarding this one from CZ is, I think one thing, and I've talked about this a couple of times with some of these various collabs, as we've kind of talked either on camera or off camera with some of these various influencers that I have been kind of chatting with over the past couple of days. There's been a very similar and consistent, I guess, theme throughout these conversations, and that it's essentially like a what if the alt season doesn't come. And I think the kind of general reasoning as to why the alt season potentially may not come is because maybe people are just getting a little bit more sophisticated within the crypto market. If people are getting sophisticated, if retail is getting more sophisticated, people know generally kind of what they're looking for. Also, we've got things like pump.fun. Maybe that's just kind of sucked all the liquidity out of the market, and there's really no other place that people are willing to put their like gambly type of funds. Very, very possible. But also, we just need to remember that if this is the case, and frankly, I will be completely honest in the fact that I think this is the best place for the crypto market to go. I think this is kind of the natural order of things. This is how crypto, matures, how it gets more sophisticated, how we get, essentially turning into more of like the stock market, right? I think that is the ultimate destination for crypto. And so when we see things like these, quick returns, things like that, I think they're a very, very difficult proposition for long-term success. What we need to see is we need to see real projects making real difference with real utility in the crypto market. That, in my opinion, is the strongest thing that we can be looking for. The whole like get rich quick makes, obviously everybody wants to get rich quick. That's just kind of the allure of everything. But ultimately, like, that's not generally how that works. You need to essentially study your craft, hone your craft, make sure that you're understanding and learning in the market and getting better over time. Maybe you can hit a quick million or a quick 100K or whatever on a meme coin, maybe, but probably not, right? I mean, I would say it's the same allure as winning the lottery. You could, but probably not. So anyway, hopefully all this helps. During this time, I know things can get a little bit scary, especially when we start to see some pretty interesting crashes like that. I would say we haven't seen anything yet. I mean, things can definitely get so much worse, as we are seeing on the daily, things getting only back to about neutral right now. So if you're already freaked out and you're worried about some of like your crypto positions and you're wanting to panic sell, obviously, not financial advice. You need to make your own decisions, but just something to think about. Maybe when the dust settles a little bit, is why? Do you not have conviction in what you own? If you don't, maybe you should do more research before you're getting into buying things. Right now, obviously, I'm not super pleased with how price has been going, but I haven't at any point been like, oh my gosh, I need to go sell my whole portfolio because I'm afraid that price just dipped 5 or 10%. If you're in that position, you really should take a closer look at how you're investing and just make sure that you're understanding what you're doing to make sure that you're saving your own money, frankly. So anyway, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, please do give me a like and a subscribe, because it really does help me out. Also, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those, so if you have anything that you want me to see, that'd be a great way to do so. Like I said, if you have any questions, you're a little bit nervous, any of that type of stuff, just drop them in the comment section. I'll try and get to them as quickly as I can. Overall, just make sure that you're staying calm and not doing anything wild. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.